Okay, hey everybody. This is my floor hooping tutorial. It is a tutorial, but I would consider it more of like a beginner's guide type of thing because I'm still experimenting with this and whatnot too. So, I'll just kind of go over some things like transitions, getting to the floor and getting off the floor, which, I'm still learning too, because I'm kind of, just recently started working on all of this, but it's been so fun that I don't know, I feel like I'm getting a lot out of it, and it's okay. I'm not gonna start talking about that right now, but yeah, it really has opened up my flow so much. So I think it would be a really amazing thing for anyone to try, even if you don't consider yourself to be more than just a beginner. The sooner that you can kind of expand your flow by working on different levels is gonna open things up for you tremendously. So I guess what I'll go over is transition, so getting on and off the floor, some basic kind of moves for the floor, really briefly, and just kind of I don't know, things to mess around with, because really, I think with floor hooping, it's really about experimenting and seeing what you can transition from, what do you do when you're standing that you can do when you're sitting or when you're laying down or whatever. Plus, I also think it feels really good to just flail around on the floor every once in a while. So, what I would suggest is doing this somewhere where you have a nice big area that I now clean my room, so I have, and that you can do kind of in private, because I know how uncomfortable it can be to try something new and experiment and know that you have people watching you and whatever, because it makes you more inhibited. So floor hooping, right? Transitions, getting to the floor. I think a quality transition is one where you are watching someone and then you're like, oh wow, they're on the floor. It wasn't I guess that's not necessarily true, because if you can gracefully throw yourself on the ground, that's pretty amazing too. So, what I would suggest is starting on the ground, and then, so that you're already there, because then you're like, oh god, how do I get out of this? And, it kind of challenges you to be more creative. So, what I've found have been good ways of transitioning is, to be shoulder hooping, and then to kind of, as I'm turning, to start going down, and then transition to shoulder hooping on my knees. So that is something that you can work with, really doing this kind of thing. And it hurts your knees, so if you have fucked up knees, you might not want to do it this way. But, get comfortable doing things, like I said, doing things that you do standing while you're on your knees or while you're sitting down. See how many things you can work into it that you can actually do. And there's really quite a lot of options. But one transition I'm thinking of right now that I really like is something like that. I think that's really smooth. Another one that I find really smooth, I think jump throughs work pretty well for this kind of thing. Doing one of these, or maybe something like this too, and getting onto your knees. But I think things where you can send the momentum up while you're moving down, so a toss or something like that, or these jump throughs or whatever, are really good ways of getting onto the floor. And then you're probably okay, so now I'm on my knees. What do I do? Well, I don't know, you really just have to play around, quite honestly. Let yourself be comfortable with kind of moving around. Practice having the hoop on either hand and then seeing what kinds of things you can do. There's a pass behind the back, feel like laying down. You know, honestly, it's kind of just like a free-for-all. I feel like once you're on the floor, because you're just kind of like, I don't know, rolling around and just being silly. Quite honestly, it's really just experimenting with that and then finding a way to flow that works well. Onyx. No. Okay, so before Onyx rudely interrupted my tutorial, I was talking about what? You made me forget what I was talking about. Stupid kitty. Probably just about rolling around on the ground, right? I think what I want to go over is just a couple of just a couple of tricks, or like moves that you should experiment with, or that I've like come across that have flowed really well together. So, behind the back pass. So usually you're just you're standing, but you bend over to do this. So you can just stay on your legs and then bend over. You can also do elbow pass, actually. I haven't even tried this, so this is a new one. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I haven't done that even standing in, like, forever, but that would be a good one, too. Foot hooping. Okay. This is one that I think probably seems a lot harder than it is. I think it really, really helped when I had some gaff. When I got some gap on this hoop. Also, don't do socks, because socks are not going to help you out. Basically, you know, get comfortable laying on the ground with the hoop in front of you. And what you're going to do is basically exchange your hand for your foot. So, you want to just stick it in there, and then your foot has to kind of move around in a circle like this. Like, you know, with your hand, you kind of move it this way, which you can do a little bit around your legs. And then you can also switch, too, which is a good thing to practice, because when you start to lose it on one foot, you can just slide your other foot in there and pick it up. Just like the way that you switch hands. You just want to think about this as more of like an extra hand kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, you want to have your foot really be like turning. So, you know, practice switching. And this will take a while to get comfortable with. It took me quite a long time, but it feels really good. It's a really good workout. And then obviously you can start doing things like this, or I don't know, whatever. I've been trying to work on that kind of thing, but and then there's also like rolling over and whatnot, but those are kind of, I feel like they're really closely related to yoga, and I need to practice that kind of strength and balance more before I can like teach it, because I don't even have it totally yet. But yeah, it's really fun to hoop with your foot, so I hope that you guys like that. You can also just start by sitting like this and putting your foot in. There you go. You have to kind of spin it around a little bit faster, but you'll see that my foot is doing that kind of like turning. Okay. The other thing that I would say, something else to experiment with, is stretching with the hoop. Just, you know how you kind of experiment with like random hand movements or whatever to see what works. Same thing, but just on the floor. So like, you know, things that feel good, something like this, you know, stretching with it can be really beautiful too. It's all just about experimenting and kind of combining these things together. So I'm just going to encourage you right now to just do, you know, whatever feels good. Just be really uninhibited about it and just kind of see what happens, and, you know, take videos of yourself to see how goofy you look, and, you know, or like, you know, you do that and then you're like, so at least for me, I'll be like, God, I'm curious about like what the hell this even looks like, so I don't have a big mirror or anything. And I watch it and I'm like, oh god, that was so bad, but then I'll see another one where I'm just like, that move was cool, like, I can totally just throw that in somewhere else. But yeah, that taking videos definitely helped me to kind of refine what I was doing on the floor. But obviously I'm not going to lose that trying to play aspect of it, because really that's where you're like getting all your random cool moves from, you know, just seeing like what you can actually do. Sorry, Ani. So play, experiment, practice, whatever. Oh, I didn't go over getting up off the floor, because that is something that I have not. I would say, as far as it goes with transitioning, practice also getting low with your hoop. So standing, but like, you know, you're squatting, you're like changing your levels, because you want to really, what makes, I think, an interesting dancer, an interesting hooper, or flow artist, anything, is you change the levels. So someone's not constantly watching you stand, or someone's not always seeing you on the floor. Like, you're standing, then you're squatting, you're like big and small, like moving around. So practice working on from when you're standing and you're hooping to like squatting down, getting low, getting on one knee, or getting on two knees, and then you're on two knees and you can, like, you know, sit down on the ground or something, you know, like really experiment with those levels. And you can move. You don't necessarily have to move from standing to like laying on the ground. You can, but like you don't have to. You can slowly transition either way. So anyway, I hope that that kind of gives you guys some ideas, and I would love to see some more floor videos because I think it's a really fun thing to mess around with and have fun with. So yeah, enjoy.